a secret. Come here. Come here. Get closer. Can you hear me? Are you sure? Skip college. Get a job in the trades. No, I'm being serious. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a CPA, an engineer, something like that, I completely recommend skipping college. Only if you want to be successful. This video is sponsored by the Wakefield app. If you hadn't seen it yet, go check it out. You can get on a computer and go to wakefield.app. It'll take you over to it. Guys, it is all about a community. Now, this is a community of tradespeople. So go check out the Wakefield app if you want to become part of the community. Okay, number one. God, this is the one that just blows my mind. If you get a job in the trade, you know what you get along with it? Zero debt. That's right. Some kids that go to college come out with debt, with student loans that equal anywhere from $30,000 to $200,000. Think about that. You get out, you don't even have a job yet, and you already owe people a ton of money. There's over $1 trillion unpaid student loans for college debt. Don't you think if it was worth it, those people would have paid that back? Here's the thing. When you get a job in the trades, when you start in the trades, you start getting paid from day one. You're not paying anybody to teach you how to learn unless you go to a tech college or trade school or something like that. But here's the thing. You don't have to. You can literally get a job at a plumbing, electrical, or HVAC company to learn that trade. And depending on where you live, in 2 to 4 years, you can actually start doing that trade as a professional. But the cool thing about it, you're not going to have any debt due to a student loan or anything like that throughout the way unless you go to a trade school. Number two, one of my favorite things, you learn as you go and you learn all day. If you get a job at a plumbing company, you know what you're learning all day long? You're learning plumbing. If you go to college to be a doctor, in the beginning, you know what you're learning? One day you're learning history. Next day you're learning social studies. Next day you're learning math. I mean, come on, guys. You're going to school to be a doctor. Now, I understand you may need all that one day. Let me think, what for? Okay, maybe the math. You need to learn how to count how many pills to give somebody. So I get that. You need a little bit of math. Well, guess what? You go to work in the trades, you're going to learn all day, every day how to do that trade. You're not going to have to learn things like history and social studies and all this other stuff. And to be honest, the math that you learn, you're going to learn hands-on. You're going to see how you use it every day. You're not going to be sitting in a classroom thinking, you know what? I am never going to need to know how to speak Spanish to toilets just to make a living. Well, you know, maybe if you live in Mexico or, well, maybe here in Texas. One of my favorite things about the trades, practical skills. I mean, you learn how to use tools. You learn how to use the analytic side of your mind. Like, okay, wait, if I'm going to put a hole here, why don't I do this first? Or how would I do this? There's so many things that you learn. And it's so cool because, look, when you're a tradesman, number one, you take pride in your work. And you learn these skill sets, these practical skills. I remember one time I had ordered this big grill and I got it in and, you look at it and there's a million pieces everywhere. And one of my neighbors is like, dude, you should hire somebody to put that together for you. And I looked at him. I'm like, are you serious? Now, he sits behind a desk all day. Probably has zero practical skills because that's what he learned in college. But here's the thing, man, 45 minutes, an hour later, I had that thing put together, fired up, burning it out. I was ready to go. Practical skills are not overrated. You ask any woman out there that's looking for a boyfriend or a man, she wants somebody that can work with his hands, fix a toilet, change the tires, change the oil, do different things like this. And once you learn to work with your hands, you learn that skill set, you learn how to grab tools and use tools each and every day, you're not afraid to do anything. Another amazing thing about the trades is job security. And guys, Now is the best time ever to get in the trades because, number one, there's 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the U.S. today. In the next 3 to 4 years, it's going to be 3 million unfilled jobs. Job security is amazing. So not only is there that many unfilled jobs, but each year for every 10 people that are retiring out of the trades, only about 4 are getting back in. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to own your own business, now is the time to think about getting into the trades, learning the trade, learning it better than anybody else, because in 5 to 7 years from now, you're going to be able to start your own company and you're going to be able to make as much money as you want to make. One of my favorite things about the trades is that personal satisfaction, that pridefulness. If you've ever been with a tradesman and they're driving down the road, they may point over and say, hey, see that? See, I built that building. It doesn't matter how many times they've told you before, they're going to tell you again because we take pride in everything we do. It's funny, I was on the Dr. Phil show the other day and I'm talking to an attorney and he kept calling what he did a skilled trade, skilled labor. And I'm laughing. I say, it's funny. You're calling yourself skilled labor and you're an attorney and I'm a plumber and I call myself a profession. Isn't it funny how we see things? Here's the thing. Tradesmen take pride in the work that they do. We want to do things true, plumb, and square. We want to make it look amazing. One thing that I learned a long time ago is anytime you put pipes on a wall, make sure it's straight, make sure it's done right. That way, if anybody ever comes back and sees it, they're like, wow, you know what? This looks good. Because trust me, somewhere down the road, somebody's going to see your work, and that's the kind of reputation you want. Take pride in everything you do and treat this job as a profession, because to be honest, that's what it is. And the community that we've built, the community between us, we are all blue-collar workers. We're plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs. We stand up and fight for each other's rights each and every day. And most of us really want to help each other out. That's one of my favorite things about this. When I first started, I'd quit high school, went out to get a job, and walked on a job site, and all these brothers and sisters get together for the safety meeting, for the job site meetings, talk about what they're doing. They get together and work together. Guys, that's the way it ought to be. Now, one thing that I told you to hang around for, and this is the biggest thing I can ever tell you, no matter if you're getting in the trades, no matter if you're already a tradesman, you're trying to become the very best, no matter if you're trying to start your own business or use networking and social media to grow in it, read the book, The Dip. Seth Cohen talks about if you're not trying to be the very best, why not? Guys, if you never want to have to look for a job the rest of your life, become the best person at that company. Work smarter, work harder, try to be productive, try to be coachable, try to help other people around you and bring them up. If you'll go to work each and every day with this attitude, I promise you, you'll never be hurting for a job. People will always want you. Try to be the best at your company, at your job site, or in your industry. It really doesn't matter, but try it. There's not many people trying, so it's not really that hard to do. Guys, if you like this video, check these out. I think you'll like one of them too.